ultimately it is good that they happen to us. That the Heavenly Father never allows anything to happen to you that is not for your ultimate good. If we could believe that, we could face anything.
I just simply had to take my hat off to this man and others of his ilk that has convinced people that the terrible things that happen to them in their lives is the plan of God, and that this plan of this God is for your ultimate good. Now, there's some sirens in the background. You may not be able to hear them as of yet. But I want you to think about the fact that sirens generally mean something bad is happening. And these are not police sirens I'm hearing. It sounds like fire truck sirens. Someone's house is possibly burning down right now. Someone's business is possibly burning down right now. There's a possibility that there are people in those houses, in those buildings, who will die of smoke inhalation or die of being burned alive, or maybe survive brain damage. Large percentages of their bodies now burned, losing motor function and nerve endings because of the severity of the burn. But that was all God's plan. That is for that person's ultimate good. And it's easy to say that when it's not affecting you. It's easy to say that when it happens to someone else, and you can look at them as a burnt crisp of a person and say that, oh, and look at the testimony you have that God pulled you through, and now you are blessing everyone with your testimony. Your faith has tested and you're still strong in the Lord. But when it happens to you, many of you are so brainwashed that you will literally take the messages that people like this gentleman just gave and say that, yes, that is God. And there's a reason why I was in that house and the house burned. Many of you ladies say, yes, there's a reason why my stepfather, my father molested me, my uncle molested me, my boyfriend molested me, my husband molested me, the deacon, the pastor molested me. Yeah, it was for God's goodness, his plan, for my good, that now I'm unable to have a truly intimate relationship with another person because of this trauma that I experienced, this trauma that I went through. And although on the surface, I may look like everything's all right, and praise be to God on the surface, but deep down, right in your knower, you know that you are damaged, that there was no justification for it, that nothing from that has been good. You know this. And for you men, because we don't report it, but for you men who were molested by that older woman in the neighborhood, molested by that teacher, molested by that pastor, molested by that deaconess, by that deacon, for all you men who were molested, and yet you still stand up in church and call yourself a deacon, a pastor, a leader of the church, and sometimes you become a molester yourself. For all you men, you know that there is absolutely no good that has come from you being molested, that there was not a plan of God's grace and divine goodness in the act of you being molested. The saddest part about it is that many of the men who do the molesting in the church, in society, were either molested by that older woman in their neighborhood, or they were molested by another man in their neighborhood or in their church. And then that person carries the cycle to molest someone else, to molest another girl, to molest another boy, and start it all over again. So it's God's good plan is to make people go through the worst types of suffering possible so that it creates a vicious cycle of threat, death, trauma, molestation. Was that God's plan? Well, if that is your God's plan, then like so many of us, I have no desire to worship your God. As a matter of fact, I will not worship your God. Even though we have all the evidence that would demonstrate that your God does not exist. Let me be clear. Your God could prove that he exists in such a way that it is undeniable that the God of the Bible is real. And I would still not worship him. I would still rather be separated from him. I would still rather take on whatever powers of punishment he has and not be in heaven with this evil, narcissistic maniac. Because the God of the Bible, whether New Testament or Old Testament, is purely evil. Pure evil. Even the God of Jesus, for all of those who want to separate and act like they're Gnostics, like Jesus was on talking about the evils of the demiurge, and he doesn't worship the demiurge. Whether Old Testament or New Testament, the God of Jesus, the God of Abraham, is an evil God, plain and simple. The God of the New Testament still allows for women to be treated as property. The God of the New Testament still never got rid of slavery. The God of the New Testament never fulfilled any of his so-called prophecies. The God of the New Testament required human sacrifice, even if it is a fake human sacrifice of himself, still required human sacrifice in order to forgive people for the shit that he created. So he's evil. Plain and simple. So it doesn't matter. That dude can show up right now. I have a couple questions for him. And then I take him through a therapy session. And hopefully, by taking him through a, a series of counseling and coaching sessions, which may take thousands of years to unravel the maniacal bullshit artist that he is, the evil religious cretin that he is, I would take that time to heal this God, because obviously the God of the Bible is an unhealed child who then created others that he could create the same cycle of whatever happened to him to make him such a genocidal, controlling, insecure, jealous God that he is. Your God needs counseling. In the same way that people who went through trauma, they need real counseling. They don't need your Jesus or these pastors telling them this bullshit. And the person walks away thinking, I'll just pray it. Just like I'm going to pray the gay away, I'm going to pray the trauma away. People need real help, not this pastoral bullshit. And your God, he needs real help. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.